Hi yogis, thanks for joining me. This is a beginner's class, but it is suitable for all levels. So I'm going to give some sequences and some postures for us to try, but I will give lots of variations so that you can keep it at more of a beginner's, gentle, easing in kind of level, or you can ramp it up to something a little bit more advanced if you've got more experience with yoga or more flexibility in your limbs. So let's get started. We're going to start in the centre of our mat, laying down. So just come to the centre of your mat, stretch your legs out long, bring your head down to the ground. Maybe just tuck the pelvis underneath so that the small of your back is touching the earth beneath you. You can bring your hands to your stomach or to the floor if you prefer. If you're looking for a bit of openness, a sense of spirituality, maybe turn your palms up towards the sky. If you want to feel a bit more grounded, a sense of stability, then keep your palms towards the ground. Just lay here for a moment just to centre ourselves before we start our practice. Concentrate on your breath. Think about your lungs filling up and expanding. Maybe take in the deepest breath that you've taken all day. Really try and fill up every corner of the lungs. And as you exhale, feel your lungs just collapsing, your ribs just feeling heavy, pulling towards the earth beneath you. Just concentrate on breathing in and out at your own natural rhythm, but just trying to use up every inch. Breathing out all of the stale air. And bring your knees in towards your chest. Wrap your arms all the way around them. Tuck your pelvis up so you're really kind of getting your knees as close to your rib cage, maybe to your nose as possible. Squeezing your legs in tight, waking up the thighs, the hip flexors as you do so. Give yourself a big squeeze and lift your head off the ground towards your kneecaps. And then just tighten that grip a little bit. Maybe you can reach for each elbow. Think about the last time you gave yourself a nice big hug. And then bring your head back down to the earth. Stretch your left leg out long. Keep the right knee in towards your belly. Take your right arm to the inside of your right knee and across your foot so that your hand can reach for the outer edge of your right foot. You can take the left hand to your hip, to the floor, and then just open that leg up so that you turn your foot towards the ceiling. You can use your elbow and your hand to just open up that hip a little bit more, just create a bit more space, much wider opening. Try and keep the left hip anchored to the ground. And then within the realms of your own capabilities, just straighten that right leg as much as you can. Maybe there's still a little bit of a bend. That's absolutely fine. Maybe you've got your leg completely straight. Point your toes away from you, and it might just deepen that stretch in the hamstrings a little bit more. Feel your right shoulder blade just open up like bird wings. Just find that space that this stretch creates. Think about pulling the foot, the leg, just a little bit closer towards your forehead maybe, or possibly out towards the right hand side. Whatever feels good for you, maybe try a bit of both. The bend in the knee isn't important here, so keep the knee bent if that feels better, but keep the left hip anchored to the ground. Take one more breath in here, and as you exhale, come back to centre, hug the right knee in, and then send that leg long. Notice the difference as both legs hang heavy on the mat. Maybe one leg feels a little longer than the other. And then hug the left knee in towards the chest. Give it a squeeze. And then again, take the left arm this time to the inside of the left knee. Reach the hand across the foot and grab the outer left foot with the left hand. Take an inhale, open up that leg. Keep a bend in it if you need to. Whatever feels good for you. You're taking the left foot up towards the sky. Point the toes. Just feel the left shoulder blade open up. Nice and spacious through the upper back now. Maybe pull the toes a little closer towards your forehead or out towards the left hand side, keeping that right hip anchored to the ground. Hopefully both shoulders are still connected to your mat. Take another breath in, and as you exhale, just bend that knee in towards your chest. Give it a little squeeze and then send the leg long. Notice how it feels. Maybe you feel a bit more evened out now. Maybe your chest feels a little bit more stretched, your bird wings, upper shoulders. Hug both knees in towards your chest. And then take both arms to the insides of the knees and grab both outer edges of the feet. Left hand reaches for the blade of the left foot. Right hand reaches for the blade of the right foot. Take your feet up towards the ceiling and then move the elbows into both of the knees. Open up those hands, create space. So we're in a happy baby here. Just give a little rock side to side. It's quite a nice lower back massage on the mat. And just opening up the hips, creating a bit of space as we start our class today. Release the feet, hug the knees in, and take the sole of the left foot down to the mat. Cross the right foot over the left knee. Lift the left foot off the floor and the shin comes parallel to the ceiling. And take the back of the left thigh with each hand. So the hands can interlock behind the left thigh here. Keep both feet flexed. Press the right elbow into the right knee and pull with your hands towards your belly. So you should feel a nice little stretch in the back of the right thigh here. Just keep pushing and pulling, find that resistance between both. You can lift your head off the ground if that feels good. You can take your left leg straight up so that the sole of the foot reaches towards the ceiling. Whatever feels good to you here. And then release the bind with your hands, bring both feet down to the floor and take the left ankle over the right knee. Lift the sole of the foot up, bring the shin parallel to the ceiling, and we'll do the same on the other side. So the left elbow pushes in towards the left knee. Both feet are nice and flexed. And the clasped hands behind the thigh, pull the leg towards you. Again, take the sole of the right foot towards the ceiling if that's good for you. Just feeling the stretch in the back of the left thigh. Take both feet down to the ground, soles of the feet to the ground. Take the hands behind each thigh, so left hand to the left thigh, right hand to the right thigh, just as a support. Just find a bit of a rocking motion here. So some gentle rocks just to open up a bit of the spine. And then when you're ready, come all the way up to a seat. You can cross the legs in front of you, whichever way feels good. Roll out the shoulders just for a moment. One way and then the other, so forward and back. Maybe give the neck a little sideways. Some yeses and some nos. Just stretch out the neck. And then come to neutral. Take the feet to the mat. Knees together. You can support the backs of the thighs with your hands. Suck the belly in and rock up so that the shins are parallel to the ceiling. You're in a beginner's boat pose here. You can release the legs, really engage in the belly and the hip flexors here. Point the toes or flex the feet, whatever feels good. We won't be here for too long. Just keep squeezing everything in. Just wake up the abs a little bit. One more breath. And then bring the feet back down. Cross the legs. Take an inhale, arms come up overhead. Left hand comes down behind you, right hand comes down to the outer left knee. Take an inhale to find length in the spine, and exhale, you twist and take your gaze over your left shoulder. Nice and long in the back here. Using each exhale to just deepen that twist a little bit more. Come back to centre, arms come up overhead, and as you exhale, the hands come down in front of you, arms nice and straight. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, we're going to walk the hands further away. We're not rounding through the spine here, we're keeping the spine nice and long, and your sit bones are still connected to the ground beneath you. When you feel that you've gone as far as you can without rounding your back, think about bringing the palms of the hands down flat to the floor, and whether or not you can bring your forearms down. And once you're there, allow the head to hang heavily. Let gravity take the weight of the head, just relax. Think about any areas you're holding any tension, maybe in the shoulders, the neck, the jaw. Maybe that little space between the eyebrows. And just feel your breath here. Every breath in, feel your belly connecting maybe to the tops of your thighs. And with every breath in, with the fullness of your lungs, you're just expanding each of the vertebrae in your back. With your next inhale, straighten your arms. Press your finger pads away from you, so you're really connecting to the mat beneath you, the floor beneath you. And just slowly bring your fingers back towards you. So you're walking a little bit like in pigeon steps here with your hands. Just slowly open up the back. Once you're upright, take an inhale, the arms come up overhead. Left hand to the outer left knee, right hand comes down. Take an inhale to find length in the spine, and as you exhale, gazing over the right shoulder. Take a couple of breaths here, and with each exhale, you're just deepening your twist. And with your next exhale, come back to the centre. Switch the position of your legs so that it's the strange foot in front. Take an inhale, your arms come up overhead, and we're going to bring our hands down in front of us. So again, just like before, walk your hands away from you as far as you can until you feel your sit bones starting to lift. And once you reach that point, that's where you should settle. Back nice and long, nice and straight, and once you've got that foundation set, then bring the palms of the hands down, bring the forearms down, and allow the head to hang heavy. Using the fullness of your lungs again, just to deepen this stretch in the spine. Observing if the hips feel different this side. If it feels more comfortable to sit with one leg in front of the other. Take one more breath in and slowly straighten your arms and pigeon step your hands back towards you. Lovely. So come on to your hands and knees now. We'll get set up for a couple of cat-cows. So hands directly underneath your shoulders and shoulder width apart. Your knees directly underneath your hips. Try and find a neutral position first of all so that we've got this correct alignment. And once you're there, take an inhale, dip the belly down towards the mat and lift through the hands, lift through the neck, open up some space in your throat and breathe in. And then as you exhale, the head will tuck in, the chin will come towards the chest, and you'll arch through your back like a Halloween cat. Take an inhale and round so the belly comes down, the chin comes up. And exhale, you arch. So take a few of these movements at your own rhythm, in line with your own breath. Just creating a bit of movement here. Really connecting with your breath because we're going to use that throughout practice. Take any other movements that you need while you're doing this, so still maintaining that rounding and the arching. But if you need to take some hip circles at the same time, some shoulder circles, just listen to your body and try to give what you think you need. This is your time. And then with your next inhale, come back to a neutral position. Tuck your toes under, and we're going to zip the belly in towards the spine and just lift the knees. So you don't need to lift the hips up too high here. An inch is fine, a centimetre is fine, but we're hovering the knees off the ground and waking up the abs, waking up the arms. And then come down. Untuck the toes. Spin the right leg back behind you and come onto the sole of the left foot. So the left leg is nice and long. Toes are pointing towards the long edge of the mat. And your back foot is pointing towards the long edge of the mat behind you. Press through the right hand and lift the left arm up towards the sky. Take the arm over the ear, take your gaze towards your fingertips on the left hand, and then really press down all of the toe pads on the left foot and press your hips forwards in front of you. You should feel a nice long stretch along the left side of the body here. If this is sore on your neck, just take your gaze down towards your right hand. Just breathing in here and breathing out. Keeping the hips pressed forward. And one more breath. And then sweep the left hand across your face and bring it back down to the mat. Bring the left knee back down. Take another couple of cat-cows just to reset. So breathing in, you dip your belly. And breathing out, you round. Come back to neutral, tuck your toes and lift the knees off the ground, zipping the belly button in towards the spine. Maybe a little bit higher this time than before. And then bring the knees back down. Untuck the toes, turn and pivot on the left knee so that the foot comes behind you. And then straighten the right leg and bring the sole of the right foot down to the ground. Take the right arm up to the sky. Take the right arm over your ear and gaze up towards the right fingertips. Zipping the belly in, push the hips forwards, press down through all the toe pads, the outer edge of the right foot, and use your breath here to deepen the stretch along the right side of the body. Take a couple of breaths. And with your next exhale, bring the right hand across your face and back down, and the knees come back to neutral. Tuck the toes, send your sit bones back towards your heels, lift the knees off the ground, and then slowly straighten the legs, send the hips back, find your first downward facing dog. Just take a bit of movement for this first down dog. Try taking your dog for a walk, so bending one leg, straightening the other. Play around a little bit, work out what feels good for you. The hamstrings are usually so tight at the beginning of a class. Some people prefer movement, some people prefer stillness. So play around, take some movement. Take a shorter stance, a longer stance, a wider stance, a narrower one. You can try gazing underneath your armpits. And wherever you are, just meet me in a regular downward facing dog and slowly step your way to the front of the mat. Make this a really slow, long walk. Feel it out. Try to keep your hands down to the ground for as long as you can before you lift onto your fingers. And meet me in a forward fold at the top of your mat. Keep your hands on the ground if that feels good, or grab the opposite elbow. Legs can be as bent as you need. Again, take a bit of movement if that's what you need right now, or find stillness. Allow the head to hang heavy. Make sure you're not holding any tension in the head or neck. Bring the hands down to the top of the feet. Maybe they don't reach, that's fine. Just take a slight bend in the knees. And slowly, slowly trace the tops of your feet, your shin, your thighs, until you find that you're standing all the way up. The head comes up last. Roll out the shoulders. Hands down by your sides, facing forwards, mountain pose. Take a moment here to catch your breath. Notice how you feel. Think about what brought you to this practice today. And set an intention for what you hope to achieve from it. Or maybe what you hope it might help you to achieve from the rest of the day when you're off your mat. Take an inhale, bend the knees and sweep the arms up overhead. Take the hands all the way down in front of you into a forward fold. Inhale here, find a flat back position. So the hands can be on the floor, on the shins, or on the thighs. We want the elbows to be tucked into the side body, and you're squeezing the shoulder blades together. You're pressing down through every part of your feet, gazing over the top of the mat, as if there's something to see, like you're on the top of a cliff. Neck is nice and long here, so we've got one long line from the sit bones all the way through the crown of the head. Fold back down and take the right hand either down straight underneath your shoulder onto a fist if you can reach the floor, or to your ankle. Keep the left leg straight and bend the right knee. Bring your left hand to your hip and pivot so that you draw your left elbow straight up towards the ceiling behind you. This will help to open up your heart to the wall in front of you to the left hand side. You can stay here, or you can take the left hand up to the sky. Use your breath here to find a nice deep twist. Bring the left hand down, replace the right fist with the left, and straighten the right leg, bend the left. Take the right hand to your hip and pull the elbow back towards the ceiling. Open your heart to the wall on the right hand side. Leave your hand here if that's where you are today, or take the right arm up towards the ceiling. And then come all the way back down. Hang in a forward fold, and then slowly rise all the way up to a mountain pose. Hands come straight up overhead, take an inhale, and exhale, we'll fold all the way back down again. Take your hands behind you and clasp the fingers together. Straighten your arms nice and long. If you can, keep the heels of the hands together. If this is a bit tight for you, just create a bit of space there. Pull your arms straight back behind you, squeezing your shoulder blades together. And then bend so that your head comes down towards your shins and your arms come up overhead. Again, the knees can be bent here. We're just trying to create a bit of space and a nice long stretch. Release the hands down towards the feet and then slowly rise all the way up. Arms come up overhead. Exhale, we'll go all the way back down. This time, bring the hands down to the mat, bend the knees, step back with the right foot, step back with the left foot. You're in a plank. Slowly bend the elbows in towards your hips, nice and tight to the body, and come all the way down to your belly. Untuck the toes. Take your hands slightly off of your mat and slightly forward. Press through the hands, straighten your arms and lift your torso. Lift your chin. So we're in a cobra pose. As you exhale, come all the way back down. Hands come back towards your ribs. Tuck your toes. Pressing to your knees. Straighten your arms. And then send your hips back into a downward facing dog. With your next exhale, step your right foot between the hands. You can help your foot get there with your hands if you need to. You're going to bring the left knee down towards the ground, untuck the left foot. Take your right hand to your right thigh and press to support yourself as you rise up. Sweep your hands out either side up overhead. Palms come together if they can, or keep them shoulder width apart. Shoulders down and away from the ears. Breathing in here, tuck your belly button in. Press both feet, so the top of the back foot, the sole of the front foot, into the ground and zip them towards each other. Almost like you've just got this connection between your thighs here. Give you a bit more support. Bring your arms out in front of you, palms facing one another. And just like a crossbow, draw the fingers of the left hand all the way back across the right palm, the right forearm, across the right shoulder, all the way back behind you, gazing over the left fingertips. Bring that left hand back forwards and do the same the other side here. So tracing the left arm with the right fingertips all the way back behind you. So lots of twists in this sequence today. It's really good for the digestive system. Bring that right hand back to meet the front. Flip the palms, and almost like the air is thicker than water, slowly press that air back behind you and see if you can bring the palms towards each other. Keep the arms lifted Squeezing them together, it's quite a tricky one. And then the hands come back to the front. Bring them up overhead again. Take a slight back bend here. And then the hands come down to frame the right foot. Tuck your left toes. Left hand comes down next to the arch of the right foot. And the right arm sweeps up towards the sky. So you're pulling the right shoulder back behind you in space to open up. Stay here, or if you want to advance this a little bit, squeeze the thighs in together and lift the back leg. Bring that right hand back down. If you haven't lifted your back leg, do it now. So tuck the back toes, lift the left knee. Bring the right hand to the right thigh and squeeze everything in to lift the body up. Bring the arms up overhead. So we're in a high lunge now. Shoulders down and away from the ears. Nice and strong in the back leg. And then pivot on the back foot to bring the sole of the foot down and twist to open up. Warrior two. So now our hips are facing the long edge of the mat. Arms nice and long. Fingertips on each hand being pulled away from each other. Inhale, straighten the right leg and the arms. Find a nice long back here. Correct your alignment so that you're straight in front, facing that long edge of the mat. And maintain that length and come back down to warrior two. Bring the left hand down to the back of the left thigh, flip the right palm, lean forward and cartwheel back, reverse warrior, gazing up towards the fingertips. Back down, arms long, warrior two. Straighten the right leg. Keep the arms as they are and hinge at the right hip so that the right hand comes down towards the right shin. Left hand comes up towards the sky. Think about pulling the crown of the head long to the top of the mat here, and whether or not you can line up your arms, the top arm and the bottom arm, in one straight line. Pull the left shoulder back behind you, opening up the heart space to the sky above. And then suck everything in really quickly. This is a tricky one. Lift the right arm and come to stand. Nice. Bend that right leg. Bring the forearm of the right arm onto the top of the right thigh. Take that left arm overhead, gazing at the left fingertips. Think about that position we did at the start of class, so pushing the hips forwards here, pressing into the outer edge of the left foot, pulling the 2 feet towards each other so that you're really using active thighs. Press into the right arm so that you're not collapsing into the right shoulder. And one more breath. And then sweep the left arm across your face and bring it down to the mat. Pivot on the back foot. Take the left hand down to the ground. Take the right arm up towards the sky. So we're in that revolve twist again. One more breath in. Bring the right hand down. Step the right foot back. Downward facing dog. Take a breath here. This is a resting pose. It might not feel like it. So just use this to center yourself, come back to your breath. Think about the intention that you set yourself. One more breath in here. And then step your left foot forwards between the hands. Bring the right knee down to the ground. Untuck the right toes. Bring the left hand to the top of the left thigh and lift up. So make sure that the left ankle is stacked underneath the right knee and sweep the arms up and overhead. Think about the shoulders, really try and anchor the shoulders down towards the earth beneath you, but reach through the fingertips at the same time as if someone is reaching through the sky, pulling them up. Bring the hands out in front of you. Trace the left arm with your right fingertips like you're pulling back a bow and arrow, all the way across the shoulders. Right hand comes back behind you, gazing over the right fingertips. Zipping those feet together through your mat to help support you with your balance. Bring that right arm back to meet the left. Trace the right arm with the left fingertips. Pull back that bow and arrow. Left hand comes back behind you. Gazing over the left fingertips. Pressing down through all of the toe pads in that front foot. Bring that left hand to meet the right. Flip the palms and pressing the air back with your hands and squeezing your shoulder blades together. Lifting your arms as high as you can behind you. Tucking your pelvis under, zipping in your belly button, and then bring the hands back in front. Hands come up overhead. Take a little tip backwards for a slight back bend here. Hands come down to frame the left foot. Take the right hand down to the mat. Left hand comes up overhead. Gazing towards the left fingertips here. Drawing the left hip back to meet the right. Bringing that left hip almost as if you're trying to pull it towards the heel of the back foot. And if you want to advance this just a little, then tuck the toes and lift that back leg. One more breath in. Bring the left hand down. If you stayed with your knee down, then zip everything up together now and lift that back knee off the mat. Bring your left hand to your left thigh, and with control, zip everything in together and rise up. Arms come up overhead, high lunge. Pulling the shoulders down away from the ears. Pivot on the back foot and open the hips. Arms come down to a T, warrior two. So think about pulling those hips so that they're facing the long edge of the mat. Shoulders are still down, away from the ears. Take an inhale, straighten the left leg, straighten the arms up towards the sky. Think about your alignment, take any adjustments that you need here. Imagine you've got someone pulling your hands up above you. Nice and long, in the spine, the neck, crown of the head. And keeping all of those micro adjustments, bend the front knee, bring the arms back down to a T. Gazing over the fingertips of the left hand. Pressing into an imaginary shelf beneath you. Right hand comes down to the back of the right thigh. Flip the left palm, lean forward and cartwheel back. Gaze comes to the left fingertips overhead. Find your way back to warrior two, arms to a T. Straighten the left leg. Hinge at the left hip. and cartwheel the arms so the left hand comes down towards the left shin, right hand comes up overhead. So pulling nice and long through the crown of the head and the torso here, finding length in the torso. One straight line of energy from the right fingertips down to the left fingertips. Pressing through the outer edge of the right foot. Pulling both feet towards each other to energize the thighs. Keep them nice and active. And then just as we did in the beginning, pushing the hips forward, so drawing that right hip back towards the left. Nice, one more breath in here. And then zip everything up together. Lift that left arm, cartwheel the arms so they're in a T. Bend the left leg. Bend the left arm and bring the forearm to the top of the thigh. The right arm comes up over the right ear, gaze goes to the right fingertips. Nice and long here. So the idea of an extended side angle is you're trying to imagine one straight line from the right fingertips all the way down to the right foot. So there's no bending. It's not about how far you can extend necessarily, it's about getting that straight line. Press through the left arm, make sure you're not collapsing, push the hips. One more breath in, and then sweep the right arm across your face, bring it down to the floor. Bring both hands down, pivot on the back foot. Bring the right hand down to the mat, left arm up to the sky, take your twist. Breathing in, and breathing out. Bring the left hand down and step the left foot back into a downward facing dog. Well done. Hopefully you're all still with me. As before, just take what you need in this downward facing dog. If you need to use it for a bit of rest, find some stillness. If you're still stretching out, take some movement, or go into a child's pose if that's what you need at the moment. Just wherever you are, just take a few breaths. And meet me back in downward facing dog. Bring your hands around halfway up your mat, or maybe, halfway. And then step your feet about a foot forward. So you're in a bit of a long forward fold. And then slowly trace your feet and your shins and rise up. Well done. So take any adjustments, any fidgets that you might need. We're going to do some tree pose. If you're a little bit unsteady on your feet, find something to lean on. It's absolutely fine. And put your weight into your right leg and come onto the toes of the left foot. Stay here for a moment. Tuck your pelvis under. So we all have a habit of standing with our bums out. Tuck your pelvis underneath as if it was a bowl of water that was about to spill over. You're trying to keep that water in the bowl. That will help you with your balance. Think about this area of muscle just above the right kneecap and see if you can just engage it and switch it on. So normally you just turn your attention to it and think about lifting that muscle higher, and then bring the sole of your foot to your ankle. Stay here if that feels good. Hands on hips, hands overhead. Pull the leg open, so you're really opening up the hips. If this feels okay, bring the foot a little higher to the shin. And if you want to go to the full tree, then bring the sole of the foot up into the thigh. So wherever you are, you can apply these same techniques. What we want to do here is push the foot into the thigh and create resistance. And then we're going to push the thigh into the foot. So we've really got some tension between the two going on. And that will not only help you to engage the muscles, but it's also going to help you to think about your balance. On your standing foot, the right foot, plug all of those toes, the toe pads, the toe knuckles, into your mat beneath you. Really think about clawing into the mat. Remember, the pelvis needs to be tucked, and then we're opening up the hip. Go with any wobbles. If you wobble and fall out of it, just reset and start again. Equally, as I mentioned, find something to balance against. These things take time to build up to, so you don't need to go for the full expression straight away. If your arms are up in the air, pull the shoulders down away from the ears. And now, if you feel okay here, think about your weight distribution. Think about whether your weight is in every single part of that right foot, or if you're leaning from one side to the other. Are there any adjustments that you can make? That might help you to strengthen your ankles if you have sore or weak ankles. Tuck your belly button into the spine. And then bring your hands down to the hips. Well done. If you're still with me, we're going to grab the left ankle and release it from the leg. Cross it over the right knee. Stay here. That's absolutely fine. Keep this left foot flexed. Open the hip. Press the ankle into the right thigh and find that resistance again. Or you can bend the right knee a little and come into a seat. I'm going to bring my hands together in a prayer and tuck my left elbow into my knee and my right elbow into the arch of my foot. Either way, wherever you are, you're pushing that hip open. And then wherever you are with control, come out of it. Shake that right foot out. Give a couple of ankle twirls. And we'll do the other side. So the weight comes into the left leg. We lift the right toes. Come onto the shin. Or bring the foot up towards the thigh. Same applies. So whatever you did on the other side, see if you can do that on this side too. It's usually a good place to start with yoga. If you can do it on one side, you can probably do it on the other. But with caution, our bodies aren't symmetrical. We use our muscles in different ways. So you may find that you have to take slight adjustments from one side to the other. Again, go with any wobbles. I'm a bit wobbly on this side today. I'm opening up that hip, really drawing the right knee back behind me, tilting my pelvis, thinking about my weight distribution in my left leg, my left foot. Do my hips feel like they're tilting one side to the other? Breathing in, breathing out, finding that resistance. Taking all of the wobbles like a tree does in nature, just blowing in the wind, just riding it out as we do in life. And then when you're ready, lift that right foot and cross it over the left knee. If you're not ready for this move, then just stay in tree pose, that's absolutely fine. Or you can bring your hands down to the ground to find a bit of extra support. Wherever you are, Take one more breath in and release everything. Bring that foot down. Twirl out the left ankle. Your calves might be burning a little bit. We did quite a long balance there. And then come to the centre of your mat. Take your arms up overhead. And as you exhale, come all the way back down. I'm going to do one last quick balance before we finish today. So come up into a halfway lift. And bring your hands underneath your shoulders. You can come onto the fists, that's fine. You're going to put all of your weight into your right leg and bend the left knees. Lift the left toes and send the left leg all the way back behind you. Flex the foot as if you're pressing the sole of the foot into the wall straight behind you. At this point you can move your hands if you need to a little further away.
City of the South by Astronautilus on Amazon.
Alexa, stop. Send your hands a little bit further away if you need to. Take any adjustments to help you get your balance. Stay here if that feels good. Take a tiny micro bend in the right knee. If you want to try a balance, this is Warrior 3 prep. If you want to try Warrior 3, bring your right hand in towards your chest, palm open, and bring your left hand to meet it. So you've got prayer hands right in the middle of your ribs here. You can send your hands back behind you. Go with any wobbles, and then bring that left foot down. Just take a few bends with the legs here, stretch that right leg out, and then come back to centre. Hands come underneath your shoulders, onto the fists. Your weight into your left leg, bend your right knee. Lift your right toes off the floor and kick the leg back behind you. Flex the right foot so that it can press against the wall behind you, and then adjust your hands as you need. Again, stay here, or advance this pose if you want. Bring the left hand in towards your heart space. Bring the right palm to meet it, or send the hands back behind. We're looking to get one straight line here, all the way from the heel of the foot through the crown of the head. So you look like a very long T. And if you're still with me, well done. Bring your hands back down, bring your foot back down. Stretch out, bend those legs. Let's rise all the way up into a mountain. Just notice how you feel. Bring the arms up overhead. Exhale all the way down. So come into a downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here for a moment. Notice how you feel. And then meet me in a seat in the middle of your mat. Well done. Send your legs out long. Step the left foot so that you come onto the sole of the left foot. Tuck the left foot all the way in towards you, and then cross it over the outside of the right thigh. So the sole of the foot should be flat to the floor. Flexing the right foot in front of you, leg nice and long. Inhale, the arms come up overhead. Exhale, right arm wraps around to catch the left thigh. Left arm comes down. Take an inhale to get a nice long spine, and exhale, gazing over left shoulder. Come back to centre. Send the left leg nice and long. Bring the right foot towards you. Tuck it all the way in. Cross it over the outside of the right leg. Arms come up. Left arm wraps around to catch the outside of the thigh. Right hand comes down. Inhale to find length. Exhale, twist. Left foot flexed. And with your next exhale, come back to centre. Bring the soles of the feet down, keep a little bend in the knees. Catch the backs of the thighs and tilt back, lift your shins to the ceiling or take a little boat pose again. Really zip the belly button in towards the spine this time, like properly kind of pump up and engage the abs. Release the arms if you want to, or send the arms up high. Hold it here. If your arms are up, if you want another little challenge, imagine you're holding a big beach ball. Take your arms over to the left, through centre, to the right, left, right, left. One more time, right, back through centre, and release. Come to your back, send your legs out long, lay down. We'll take a quick bridge pose, bring the soles of the feet down to the ground, hip width distance apart. Tuck your pelvis underneath to try and bring the small of your back flush to the mat. Take the palms of the hands down to the mat. See if you can just graze, more like a little tickle of the heels of the feet. If you can just about graze them, then they should be in the right sort of position here. Take an inhale and lift your hips. Think about squeezing a book or a football between the knees. Shuffle your shoulder blades underneath you and clasp your hands together. Pressing the knees in towards each other to really engage them, have active thighs. And you're pressing your chest towards your chin. Press a little bit higher. And then release down. Take your arms out to a T at shoulder height and allow both knees to fall over to the left hand side. Gaze over towards the right hand. Use your breath here to really feel the belly stretching as you inhale. Stay like this, that feels good. If you want to just intensify it a little bit, take the left foot on top of the right leg. So your shin is kind of pressing down on the right knee or the right thigh. And then unravel, come back through centre. Reset. And then allow the knees to fall over towards the right, gazing over the left side. Again, concentrating on the breath at the bottom of the lungs, the stomach expanding, just to intensify the stretch. And again, if you want to, just untuck that right foot and place it on top of the left leg. Unravel, send your legs out long towards the corners of the mat. Take your hands to the belly or to the floor beneath you. And again, palms can be facing upwards if you feel openness, if you want to invite anything in towards you, or down if you're still looking for a sense of grounding. And just bring your attention back to your breath again, as we did at the beginning of class. Feeling your inhales expanding the lungs fully, and feeling the ribs relax every time you exhale. Release any tension in the face and the jaw. Allow your facial expressions to just soften. Feel the weight of your head into the mat beneath you, and feeling the shoulders your shoulder blades, maybe your forearms and elbows, your hands and fingers. Feeling your hips connecting into the earth and feel that support from the earth underneath. Maybe the heels or the edges of the feet, the calves. Just noticing all of these connections, these various points of connection between you and nature, knowing that it's supporting you and your very being, and that all of the wobbles that you took in class today, they mirror the wobbles that we face in life, and that you can get through them. You just connect to your breath, connect to the earth, and you reset, and you show yourself compassion, give yourself permission to reset and retry. Just wriggling the fingers and toes, bringing a bit of life back into your limbs. Maybe stretch the arms up overhead. Stretch from the toes and the arches of the feet all the way up into the fingertips and the hands. And roll onto your right hand side. And slowly rise up and come to a seat in the middle of your mat. I hope you can take some of these practices with you through the rest of your day. Maybe reconnect to that intention that you set for yourself, and just be kind, show yourself some compassion. You showed up to class today, you gave yourself this time, and that is the best start that you can make. Thank you for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed class. See you again. Namaste.